While promoting his new book, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, a memoir, the actor best known for his role as Chandler Bing on the universally loved sitcom Friends opened up about his brush with death and how he thinks he survived it. The star has been very open about the highs and lows in his life and career, and recently said that a higher power helped him through his drug and alcohol addiction. In an interview with Bill Maher, Perry explained that he was given a 2% chance of survival. That was after his colon ruptured due to excessive opioid abuse. He described being placed on life support and how he was pretty much the only patient put on the machine who managed to make it out alive that night. In the same interview, Perry attributed his survival and consequent recovery to divine intervention, referring to his firm belief in a higher power. He added, "I have a very close relationship with him, and that's helped me a lot." This public revelation earned him cheers and a giant applause from the live studio audience, and Maher remarked, "Everyone is on your side, everyone is glad you're here." Apparently, his close experience with God involved him sensing God in his kitchen. He explained that it was kind of like a bright yellow object that encompassed him, to the point where he couldn't really see his kitchen anymore. He added that the light made him feel loved and understood, and like he was in the company of God himself. He said that when it happened, his dad was right next to him, and the two were praying, something he rarely ever did. So that made him feel like God was showing him what was possible and urging him to go get a better life for himself. Then, after his near-death experience, when all the doctors gave up on him and said he had next to zero chances of survival, is when he began to firmly believe that a higher power helped him survive his complications and that he was alive all because of a divine miracle. Perry may have been the fun, sarcastic one on Friends, but his real life was filled with some serious struggles. Even though Perry was vague on his newfound spiritualism, his memoir lifts the lid on how he overcame many of his struggles. When Perry was first cast on Friends, he was 24 years old, and that was when his alcohol addiction was starting to rear its ugly head. In his book, he says that at the time, he felt that he had it under control, but by the time he hit 24, he knew he was in a lot of trouble. He adds that there were a few years when he was sober during the filming of the show, like during the filming of season 9, which was when he got nominated for Best Actor. He also recalls that at one terrifying point during the Friends era, he was taking 55 Vicodin a day and was down to 128 pounds. He couldn't stop himself, which even earned him a visit from the police one night. They told him that if he drank that night, they were going to take him to jail. Perry tried to hide his condition or downplay it, but the changes in his appearance became evident. Each year clearly reflected his state of sobriety. His castmates were patient and understanding, and Perry writes that they supported him and tried to help him in any way they could. He also gets candid about his relapses, having been to rehab 15 times over the past couple of years, and writes that he's become well-versed on the tools needed to maintain sobriety. Even though he still prefers not to disclose how long he's currently been sober, he confirms that he does still count each day. He also acknowledges that even if you do lose your sobriety somewhere along the journey, that doesn't mean that you're going to lose all that time and education. Your sober date changes, but that's all that changes. Perry also has his share of scars from the 14 surgeries he's had on his stomach so far. He says that they are another reminder for him to stay sober. Perry also recently addressed why his voice sounded different in the Friends reunion special. He had left fans concerned over his behavior in the reunion episode. In an interview with Diane Sawyer of ABC Nightline, he said that it was because of a dental surgery he had undergone in 2021. The wear and tear that people had noticed in his voice and speech resulted from him having to have all his teeth replaced just before the reunion was filmed. Apparently, Perry had undergone emergency dental surgery just days before filming, and the operation left his mouth feeling like fire, and that's essentially why his voice sounded off. So that put to rest all those rumors about a relapse, which so many viewers were quick to assume. He added that he felt that he couldn't not show up, so he chose to go and do the best that he possibly could, and that probably has something to do with everything the show and his co-stars did for him over the years. Jennifer Aniston, in particular, was someone who helped him throughout his addiction struggle, reaching out to him and checking in on him constantly. While the others were also friends with him on and off screen, Perry writes that it was Aniston who was the one that reached out the most.
She would walk in, I'd be like, "Hey, good to see you." And I'd go to my dressing room and just go, "Oh,
Ever since Perry has been making headlines for the revelations in his new book, people are curious to know more about the actor. What everyone does know is that it was his role as Chandler Bing in Friends that defined his career. But his net worth in 2022 shows that he has come a long way in his professional life since the sitcom came to an end. Following his role as Chandler, Perry went on to star in a bunch of other notable movies and shows, all of which significantly contributed to his overall net worth. He currently has an estimated net worth of $120 million. But his financial status took a serious hit back when he was trying to get sober. He's been more than forthcoming about his sobriety journey in his memoir and reveals that the cost of having spent most of his life checking in and out of treatment centers and sober living facilities before he hit 50 years of age cost him over $9 million. This ballpark figure came after Perry opened up about the series of medical ailments that left him spending time on life support and 2 weeks in a coma, followed by 9 months with a colostomy bag and over a dozen stomach surgeries. But it appears that he's been able to make all that money back over the past few years. Friends obviously contributed toward a lot of that. As we know, he played one of the main characters and appeared in every one of 236 episodes of the show from 1994 to 2004. His salary considerably increased with time as the show gained popularity, and by the end of it, he was taking home a whopping $1 million per episode. The show wrapped up close to 2 decades ago, but the actor continues to earn millions in royalties, just like the rest of the cast members. During the talks for their new contracts in 2000, the actors were allowed to demand backside points on the show, points that would allow them to collect royalties when the show was sold to syndication. Up until that point in time, the only other TV personalities outside Jerry Seinfeld and Bill Cosby who had ownership in shows were those two. According to In Touch Weekly, the Friends TV series still brings in over $1 billion annually via syndication royalties and streaming arrangements. Depending on sales each year, the Friends stars are rumored to make anywhere between $10 to $20 million per year. That's enough to have them set for life. He has starred in films like 3 to Tango, 17 Again, Almost Heroes, and The Ron Clark Story, while also appearing in TV shows like Scrubs, Cougar Town, and Go On. There's more that has contributed to his overall net worth. Most Hollywood stars make huge investments in real estate and earn some pretty big bucks when they eventually decide to sell them. Matthew reportedly bought a beachfront property worth $11 million in Malibu in 2011 and sold it for $13.1 million in 2021. He is also said to have bought a penthouse in 2017 for $20 million and sold it for a profit of $1.6 million just 2 years later. The sales of his memoir are also likely going to boost his current fortune, considering the fact that celebrities are well known for making some pretty impressive earnings through book deals. So even if he chooses never to act another day in his life, we're pretty sure he'll still be okay financially.
Addiction, the big terrible thing, is far too powerful for anyone to defeat alone. But together, one day at a time, we can beat it down.
Yeah.
That's a wrap for this video. Did you know about Perry's bumpy road to sobriety? Are you surprised to learn where he stands financially, even after all that? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.